Hey guys, how's it going? This is Axisoft here, coming to you guys today with a quick tech video. This is basically just a repair of one of the RWA magazines that I ordered. I made a review on the RWA M1911 Covert Ops that I got, Nighthawk Custom trades on there, just a couple of days ago, and I figured that it might be a good idea to put this video up too for anybody that may have bought RWA magazines and were curious as to how they could fix them. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in and not waste any breath or time on either end, you guys or me. So what we're going to want to do first is take a small screwdriver just like this, and there's a Phillips head in this small hole. And all you got to do is just unscrew it. In fact, you probably don't even have to do this part, but I always like to just disassemble everything to the fullest extent anyways. I feel like it gets things out of my way. And then your entire magazine spring and guide will come out. Then, I mean, you don't really have to unscrew the gas screw. You can just go ahead and take a flathead. And there's a little, it's really difficult to unscrew this part down here, but you can do it with a flathead if you angle it at the right angle. You can really only expect to move like one end of the flathead, by the way. You won't be able to get both ends of the flathead into the entire screw just because it's so large. And let's see here. You might find yourself twerking down on the screw a bit just to get it to move. It's a little bit difficult. There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll probably either speed this up or skip the rest of this screw removal for you guys just because it's not really needed. Okay. Oh, well, it just went flying away. And here is the screw in question. Okay, so it doesn't look like the O-ring has sustained any kind of damage, really. In fact, there's basically no reason as to why this thing shouldn't be working. And it was the same thing with the other magazine that I fixed. So this is where I'm going to switch things up on you guys just a little bit. I'm going to ask you to get another small screw, this time a flathead, and you're going to want to go to this valve on your 1911 magazine, and I'm pretty sure that these are removed by going counterclockwise, my fault, and not clockwise. Oh goodness. Okay, did that do it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you actually go counterclockwise with this screw. Let's see here. That should be it right there. So now you can just pull on this little nudge right there. You pull it out. So all we gotta do to fix up this magazine, go ahead and just to show you guys the entire disassembly, you can go ahead and take your flathead and punch this part out. I'm not going to do it, but there's a pin right there and you can punch it out and you'll be able to replace the mag lip and the little rubber bit right here. But it's really not essential for what we're doing. To actually fix the problem, what you got to do is take some Teflon tape here, PTFE thread seal tape as they have it labeled, and basically you're just going to wrap both of these up in Teflon tape, and I'll go ahead and show you guys the finished product once I'm done with it, because it takes a little bit of time and effort just to get the tape on there correctly. So start off by getting a fresh little sliver of Teflon tape, that's what you want to call it, and just line it up with the threads. There we go. That's good as any. Yeah, line it up with the, oh, well, there it goes. Don't expect to get it on the first try. It's kind of difficult to use Teflon tape sometimes. And wrap it around maybe 1.5 times. Gosh, I generally only do it about 1 time. And it may be different for you. You may want to try like 2 times or something like that. But don't overdo it, or otherwise you won't be able to screw it back in very well. So once you have your Teflon tape around the threads, cut it off and seal the rest of it to the threads. Then you're going to want to take a knife and just shed off any excess Teflon tape. This is the part that takes the longest, just simply because Teflon tape can be hard to remove. It likes to stick, which is good for the situation that we're in, but bad for when you have to remove excess. So make sure you cut deep into the tape so that you won't have to go back and do it later or have any problems with your mag in the future. Okay, so once you're done with wrapping this first bit in Teflon tape around the threads, it should look something like this. You might see where the threads have cut into the Teflon tape, and that's fine, it's to be expected. Just go ahead and ignore it. This is just what it looks like when you're done. Set it off to the side. And this here is our real problem. I went ahead and wrapped the other one in Teflon tape just because it might help with any leak issues there. I mean, generally speaking, there aren't any leak issues up on this end of the magazine, but it's always good to be safe, so I just decided to do it anyways. But let's go ahead and get this other part wrapped up. So it works just like that part did, basically. You just gotta line up the Teflon tape to the O-ring and the threads, and just keep on wrapping. The way that it wraps is going to cover a little hole that's supposed to be here, that is the hole where the gas is transported through when you plug in the CO2 cartridge. So what you want to do is take your knife again and just go in and clear out that sucker of any extra Teflon tape. And again, this is it can take some time, it can take some effort, it can be frustrating too, but it's worth it, because in the end you'll have a working magazine and you can save plenty of good money. Okay, so once that little bit looks something close to this, we want to make sure that tape's out of the way. Once it looks something close to this, or even better, I might add, then it's safe to go ahead and screw this thing back on, and then we can test it out. So let's go ahead and try this thing. Okay, so after the mod, we have the CO2 cartridge still leaking, if you can't hear it, and frozen to the magazine. So the camera that I had on before died. This is just my phone camera. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go over all of the parts once again and see where we went wrong with the Teflon tape. More than likely, I went back and retaped this bit right here where the CO2 comes in contact with the O-ring and all that, and wrapped it around 2 or 3 times. So my bet is that up here is where the rest of the leak is. So we're just going to have to see and find out. Alright, so I have now Teflon taped this bit right here, probably a good 2 to 3 times, I would say. The Teflon tape is on there pretty thick now, so we're going to go ahead and try out with this new CO2 cartridge. I'm actually expecting it not to work because I suspect that this piece right here just needs to be re-Tefloned once again. So let's go ahead and see what happens. As you might be able to hear, it's wanting to leak just a little bit, but it isn't leaking much. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in, we're going to Teflon tape this bit just a little bit more, and maybe this bit as well. Alright, so after much testing, as you can see with many CO2 mags, I have decided with these magazines, your best bet is to do 2 things, okay? 2 things. You need to absolutely load up the threads with PTFE thread seal tape or Teflon tape, which is a whole lot easier to say. You want to load the threads up with that. You probably want to do 4 or 5, up to maybe even 6 or 7 layers, depending on how bad the leak is. You're going to have to test it as you go along to figure out. Second of all, you want to make sure these screws are on as tight as can be, because if not, then you're going to be leaking. Right now, I've got it to where I heard when I first screwed this CO2 cartridge in, and I put my ear right directly up to this little piece right here, I heard very, very, very tiny crackling sounds, which is usually indicative to the gas coming out of the magazine. But after a couple of seconds, it went away, and as you can see, there's still high pressure in the magazine. I'll even show you guys the gun shooting here in a second. So I think that it's just the fact that I put in a new CO2 cartridge. To give you an idea of how much Teflon tape I had to use, there's some actually sticking out from the thread of the little piece up here, right there, as you can see. So you definitely need to use a lot of Teflon tape and screw down your threads really, really tight. So I'm going to go ahead and load up this magazine and show you guys how it shoots. But before that, I just want to show you guys, put this right up to the camera. No leaking noises. So I'm going to consider this mag fixed as it is, but when they make little crackling noises like that every time you put in a CO2, just keep your eye out for them, and worst case scenario, if it starts to leak again, just go back in and load it up with Teflon tape. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the shooting test. Alright, it's nighttime, so you're not going to be able to see where the BBs are going and stuff, but we're going to see how many mags the CO2 can put out of, well, BBs, of course, and gas. Alright, so we've got our pistol here. Let's go ahead and move on over. Cock the gun, and not bad. So, let's go ahead and try our next magazine. Magazine number 2. Yet again, pretty good for a mag that was just fixed. on to mag number 3. Here is mag 3. Starting to get low on gas on mag number 3, but that's pretty normal for most gas guns anyways. I've got about half a mag, or 8 BBs loaded for this 4th round here. See how the M1911 does with its newly fixed magazine. And it's still going strong. Alright, there are 9 BBs in the magazine this time, so that rounds up to a 4th magazine, including the last part. And it's still going. At this point, I'm just trying to finish the video up. This is a full 5th magazine. This thing has become extremely efficient on gas. Let's see what happens. Ah, there it is. Alright, let's see how many rounds that thing got through this time. Right. Come on. Oh, the struggles of YouTubing with one hand. Come on. There we go. Alright. And we had about 2, 4, 6, 8 BBs left. So, after doing the Teflon mod, which took many tries as you might be able to see, I was able to get this magazine to run 4.5 mags worth of ammo off of one CO2 cartridge. And for a magazine that didn't work at all before, I would say that's pretty impressive. I still feel skeptical about the whole the noise that I heard up here when I first put the CO2 cartridge in, but honestly, it's a mag that works at this point. So I'm just going to keep my eye on that, and I'll let you guys know if anything comes with that. But as of right now, I see this as a viable solution for any leaky RWA magazines. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I know that it may not have instilled a whole lot of confidence in you, that I'm not entirely confident in the mod, but I'm a very picky person. So I hope the modification works well for you guys. It sure did for me. I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks.